NZXT has revealed a bunch of new things, including the more affordable Kraken Plus coolers, the top-end Kraken Elite 420 RGB, a 420mm single-frame fan, and the H9 Flow in various different specs. Now, if you are a fan of the H6 Flow RGB, which I certainly was, with its offset fans and recessed fan bay and very nice looking case design, then you're going to like the H9 Flow as well. The H9 Flow is large and in charge. There are various different models, including the standard Flow, the Flow RGB, and the Flow RGB Plus seen here. This model includes two 420mm fans as standard and the rear 120mm, making it really easy to build in. There are some other highlights as well that I'm going to get into, and I'll do a full review on it soon, but I want to talk about some of the things of interest of the various different products. As I mentioned, the Kraken Plus lineup is designed to be more affordable with NZXT's own turbine pump and the single frame setup in there with the RGB versions of these. NZXT's also got the 420mm version of its single frame fan now, which obviously you can run alongside the Kraken Elite 420. And you can use the control hub for these. I've done a separate wiring guide on the single frame fans before, but the 420mm added into this group just makes life really easy for connecting up multiple fans in your case and ended up with a really clean look. Now, the H9 Flow is a really large case with some really nice highlights to it. You can see that it includes, for example, holes for rear connect motherboards. So whether that's Asus's BTF motherboards or Gigabyte Stealth versions, for example, you can put those in there. So I thought it'd be worth showing you what that might look like. So this is a Gigabyte Stealth board, which you can see installed there. Or obviously you can put in a standard motherboard as well. The idea here is to be a very flexible case with ATX specification available to be installed in there really easily, although the wiring is a much more straightforward affair with a BTF setup and looks a lot cleaner, as you can imagine. So if you want to create a really good looking case, then you definitely want to go for BTF. There are some interesting little things in here which I'll go into a lot more depth on in the review, but the side panel, for example, down the edge of the motherboard has a little blocker which can hide away the holes where the cables would run through if using a stealth board like this. So you can see here it looks a lot cleaner with that setup there. As standard, as I mentioned, it comes with the two 420mm single frame fans installed. They're set up as intake fans on the side and the bottom. That is only with the Plus variant of this case, though. The standard Flow, for example, and the Flow RGB don't include this full setup. You'll only get a one 420mm fan with a standard Flow RGB. You need the Plus version. The Plus also includes the controller at the rear. This is NZXT's new fan controller. The fans included with the case are already wired into it, so all you need to do is connect it to PCIe power and USB connection, and then your fans are powered. So the setup is really easy in here. Now, if you don't know already, this controller is also able to connect up multiple fans. You can see there's 3 ports on the sides and then one at the top with the additional fan and RGB connector in there as well for the standard fans, not the single frame ones, but the 120mm fan that's at the rear, for example. The inclusion of this, and the fact it's already wired in for you essentially, with the H9 Flow RGB Plus makes the setup of the build really easy. So if you're looking for a really straightforward setup, then this is it, because it's very hassle-free. Put the power supply unit in, even if your wiring's not that great, your cable management's not brilliant, you don't need to worry because there's plenty of space back there. You also have this rear tray, which is able to take up to 4 SSDs on it, and there's a hard drive caddy as well, which sits at the bottom right-hand side of there. So there's plenty of room for storage. And as you can see, my cable management leaves something to be desired, but you can shut the door, put the rear panel on, hide all your shame away, no problems whatsoever there. And because it's rear connect motherboard in this instance that I've used as well, the front of it ends up looking really neat. So there's no dramas at all there. This is one of the easiest builds that I've done and very hassle-free. Now, the Kraken Elite 420 RGB is obviously an upgrade to the previous Kraken Elite setups. It's the largest one you can get now from NZXT and works with a lot of different sockets. I'm using it here with an AM5 socket motherboard, but it will also work with Intel's latest 1851 socket motherboards as well as older variations of those, pre-applied thermal paste as you'd expect, and the large screen that now is included with the Kraken Elite coolers. This is a 2.72-inch IPS LCD display with 640 by 640 resolution and a 60 Hz refresh rate, which you can obviously customize with a number of different things, including GIFs and infographics, which I like to use in the setup, for example, to show temperature readouts and load on their various different devices. And this is a really clean setup, but you can see it's huge, very close to the 4 sticks of RAM here, but you can put the tubes at the bottom, obviously, so they won't get in the way. It might cause some other issues as well, though, which I want to get to in a second, but it uses NZXT's turbine pump, making it very quiet and also really good at cooling. I'm going to have a separate review on that soon. But what I found was with this installed and the standard frames that are included with the case, it just runs really quietly, cools really well, and does a great job. I'll leave a clip at the end so you can hear what that's like and get an idea of it. Now, in this case, I wanted to try NZXT's vertical GPU mount. This is universal traditionally and fits in a lot of NZXT cases really easily. So I was putting my 4090 in there because I want to be able to demonstrate this standard setup and also vertical mount, because I did it with the H9 Flow RGB, and I know it looks really nice in that setup, so I wanted to show this off here. But I actually came across a problem, which you might not have, but I think it's worth highlighting if you are thinking about this case and want to do vertical GPU mount. You can see I've got the Stealth motherboard here, and then I'm trying to install the vertical mount in. Now, what I found is it wouldn't seat properly into the rear. Now, a couple of different angles to show you this, but essentially the bracketing was struggling to fit in there properly. It looks like it's going in, but then I couldn't screw the vertical mount in properly along the bracket top, so I couldn't fully secure it in. Now, I think it was actually for 2 reasons. One, the Stealth motherboard has a bit of an edge to it, which is probably thicker than other boards, and also the size of the Kraken cooler was just basically pushing up against the back of the vertical mount, meaning I just couldn't use it. Now, I think the motherboard was the main issue there, but it is something to bear in mind. If you're thinking about vertical mounting and you're using a new Kraken Elite, you might have some issues. But otherwise, I'm happy with how the build came out. I think it looks really nice. It runs really cool and quiet. And as you can see, you can have the 420mm radiator at the top and still use the 120mm fan at the rear as well. And so a very nice setup, a really nice case, but it is pretty expensive at $289. I'm going to be quiet now so you can hear what it sounds like while gaming, and then subscribe to see the full review in the near future. You've made it right to the end of the video, you brilliant legend you. If you've enjoyed it, click that subscribe button, give me a thumbs up, and drop me a comment down below if you've got any questions. If you really enjoyed it, consider joining the channel and see the benefits of doing so. Check out these other videos, you might well find them interesting or useful, and most importantly, have a great life.